of the Quran here, and in Surah 133, it says, and everything is kind of backwards, but I'm going to get used to it. It says, "We ye witnesses when death appeared before Jacob, behold, he said to his sons, what will ye worship after me? They said, we shall worship thy God, and the God of thy fathers, of Abraham, of Ishmael, of Isaac, the one true God, to him do we submit." And then it says, "Say ye, we believe in Allah." Allah means the God, monotheism. And the revelation given to us and to Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, Jacob, and the tribes, and that given to Moses and Jesus, and given to all the prophets from their Lord. We make no difference between one or another, any of them, and we all submit to the one God, Allah. On that same theme of love, I think so beautifully expressed in the Quran, the theme of love of that one God, we pick up in the Bible in Matthew chapter 12, verse 28. One of the scribes asked Jesus, "Which is the first of all the commandments?" And Jesus replied, "This is the first. Listen, Israel, the Lord our God is the one Lord. And you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength. And second to this is you must love your neighbor as yourself. Love of God, love of neighbor." Now, there's another difference between Islam and Christianity, and I think Islam will tolerate it because I think it really helps us as Christians, especially as Catholic Christians, to see God in one another. It's the whole incarnational attitude that we have as Christians, especially, I know, as a Catholic Christian. And this is again expressed, I think, very well by another story by St. Francis. And for those of you who are aware, St. Francis was not always a saint. He was a soldier, and he was young, and he was riding on his horse. I think this was after he stopped being a soldier, and he was around Assisi somewhere, and he came across a leper. And a leper is, or was, at least to him, the most horrible thing that he could encounter. And he wanted to just ride right by off on the side of the road. But then something pulled him off his horse. He got off his horse, he walked up to the leper, and he saw in that leper the eyes of Jesus. And he was moved to kiss the leper, and the leper disappeared. The incarnational attitude of Christianity, we reconcile that with our monotheism. It really helps us, it helps me certainly, to see God, the God, in my brothers and sisters, Catholics, Christians, Muslims, Jews. One thing I found that we have in common, I'm clergy in the Catholic Church, and I'm required to pray the morning prayer and evening prayer, the liturgy of the hours. It's our praxis, and have been very impressed by the discipline, the praxis of prayer, 5 times a day, canonical prayers, just like the prayers, actually in some ways very similar to the prayers that I'm required to say in our liturgy of the hours. I'd like to challenge myself and challenge all of you to become part of this majority. Not that all of us here are Christians and Muslims, but join us even if you aren't Christians or Muslims. Become part of a courageous majority. Right now, I said 55% of the world's population is made up of us, but many of us are being characterized by fringe groups, by extremist groups, by militia groups, by stereotypes, by fears. I don't think we should allow the relationship that we have with each other as fellow Christian and fellow Muslim to be dictated by others. I think we need to have the courage to reach out to one another directly, to look each other in the eye, in the heart, to get to know each other. And I think it's going to be a little bit different because I pray in English or Spanish. I know the Muslims pray in Arabic. It sounds different to me. Many of the Muslims in this culture weren't born in America, in the United States. So there are cultural differences, but our challenge is to step past those differences, to look beyond those differences, to continue to look to commonality. This Sunday, in the Catholic tradition, we read the Gospel of John, where Peter, who was sort of a wishy-washy guy, sometimes he was denying Christ, and sometimes he was saying, yeah, me too. He was on the boat after Jesus' resurrection, and he wasn't the smartest one of the apostles either, so he didn't even recognize Jesus standing on the shore. One of the other apostles pointed it out, but Peter, full of the boldness, cast caution to the wind and jumped headfirst into the Sea of Tiberias. I think it's that type of attitude that we need to have as Christians, and I think as Muslims, to jump headfirst without caution into the water, even though we don't know exactly what might happen. Love, this common word, as you know, for all of you who are married or have been married at least for more than 6 months, it's a decision. It's work. I think if we find commonality in the word of love, it's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to be a decision, and sometimes it will not seem easy. One thing I think we can work on, something we really have in common, are two things. It's our embrace of life and embrace of the vulnerable. And the other thing is the embrace of the poor. Both our religions speak a lot on that. I had the opportunity a year ago to hear Ingrid Mattson speak to the JRLC. And this is a story that she told. Ingrid Mattson is or was the president of the North American